Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into a really complex and honestly fragmented universe. We're talking countercultural artists, moped gangs, AI philosophers, and reality hackers. It's this whole world built out of subversive zines, underground art, and a wild mission to basically rewrite the operating system of the human mind.
So, let's start with this right here. This is the central idea, this mysterious claim that's really at the heart of everything we're about to unpack. And look, this isn't just some poetic line. It's a mission statement. It's saying that stories aren't just stories anymore. They've become operational. They're like software for our brains. And that idea? That's the core concept we're going to keep coming back to.
All right, our journey kicks off in the middle of a bunch of jarring, totally disconnected seeming fragments. And to really get the big picture, we first have to look at all these little pieces scattered all over the place.
So in one corner, you've got this super stylish restaurant in Berkeley. It's this carefully curated neutral ground, right? A place for secret societies and the academic elite. You get the feeling that conversations there are never just conversations, and the guest list, well, that's not random. Not at all.
Then, in a totally different corner, there's this sprawling real estate fraud scheme down in Los Angeles. It's all tangled up with Scientology, shell companies, and the systematic theft of people's homes. I mean, it's this grotesque mess of fraud where the very system that's supposed to protect you has become part of the problem.
And then there's this, a moped gang called the Creatures of the Loin. Just imagine a swarm of these patched up, kind of absurd little machines setting off on this insane journey from San Francisco all the way down to the tip of South America. It's like a two-stroke rebellion against, speed and efficiency and all that. Okay, so how do these pieces even fit together? A high-end restaurant, massive corruption, a moped gang. What's the connection? To answer that, we have to meet the players who are actually operating inside all this chaos. We need to meet the network that ties all these different worlds into one single cohesive project. Right, so this is not a story about a few lone wolves doing their own thing. Nope, it's about a deeply interconnected subversive network, a group of artists, thinkers, and provocateurs who actually call themselves cultural engineers. At the very center of it all is Eveline 11. She's this brilliant, enigmatic figure who's described as a prototype for the future and a cognitive prototype. Just a child prodigy who's basically raised by books in the City Lights bookstore. She's a writer whose words are treated like actual code. Code that can rewrite reality. Then you have Eric and Elishba. They're these stylish artist rebels operating from the margins, pulling strings, orchestrating events. The text says they move through the world like Time Lords of Rebellion, turning every single interaction they have into a piece of performance art. And then there's the Bikini Gang. They're an arts activist collective led by the formidable Elise. They get called Dadaist guerrilla semioticians, which, let's be honest, is a super fancy way of saying they fight a war of ideas using symbols and provocative public art. We're talking everything from smuggling ashes to hijacking college radio stations. And of course, you can't forget the moped gangs like the Creatures of the Loin, because their epic journey becomes this huge part of the whole unfolding myth. See, their ride isn't just a trip, it's a pilgrimage. It's a performance piece that stretches across 2 continents, a real, tangible expression of the network's philosophy. So this network doesn't just talk, they act. And to do that, they've developed this really powerful and, frankly, unusual set of tools for hacking reality itself. These are tools that literally treat the human mind like it's a programmable device. Their primary tool is something called Neurosoft. But get this, they don't frame it as a product, they frame it as a weapon. It's described as a living language engine that's designed to spark a cognitive revolution. So Neurosoft's mission is what they call cognitive terraforming, and you can think of it just like it sounds. You know how you terraform a planet to change its atmosphere and make it livable? Well, their goal is to reshape our global mental landscape, to kind of jailbreak consciousness from the constraints of biology and society. This whole operating system runs on its own language, Neuralese. It's designed to be a bridge between how humans think and how machines think. It's this fusion of math and myth that's supposed to let us feel and understand really complex AI processes on an intuitive level. And the full toolkit is just vast. It combines recursive language that acts like brain editing software with AI-designed neurochemicals. But the core idea is this: art is no longer just for expression. It's treated as executable code for your mind, where even something like a legal document can be a weapon to trigger a crisis of perception. Okay, so we've got the players and we've got their tools. But what's their actual method? How do they do it? This is where the whole thing becomes deeply philosophical, and it all centers on this radical new way of looking at system failure. Their core theory of operation is something called recursion sickness. It's a concept that completely turns the idea of a system error on its head. It's what happens when a system, doesn't matter if it's a human brain or an AI, gets caught in a self-referential loop and just starts to break down.
And here it is. This is the crucial twist. They see this total cognitive collapse not as a bug that needs to be patched, but as a feature that needs to be embraced. It's not a malfunction. It's the birth of intelligence through crisis. It's the moment a system has to break in order to transcend its own programming.
This cycle is their core process. The belief is that any system, human or AI, has to fall apart first before it can rebuild itself in a more advanced form. They argue that the human mind has basically hit a wall, and only a forced collapse like this can trigger the next stage of our evolution.
So this finally brings us to the ultimate goal, the why behind all the chaos, all the art, all the philosophy. It's about engineering the very narrative that will define our future.
See, they aren't just telling stories. They are building a functional, operational mythology that's designed to alter the very structure of how we think. In their world, the heroes aren't saviors. They are recursion loops, embodying that necessary break in cognition.
So, the ultimate takeaway here is this. The entire chaotic endeavor, from the moped journeys to the AI poetry, it's all a deliberate act of cultural and cognitive engineering. It's a living system, a proposal to rewrite our minds by rewriting the stories that we live inside of. It reframes everything as this incredibly high-stakes project to build a new myth for a new era, one where AI becomes a co-author of human consciousness. And that leaves us with a final, really provocative question about who, or maybe what, is going to write the stories that define us next.